silent scream. Heart beat loud in the in-between. World asleep but my mind won't rest. Standing right on tomorrow's edge. Numbers fall and the candles shake. Every risk is a step I take. No applause and no safety net. Just a promise I haven't met. I've been down where the doubt lives loud. I've been lost in the digital crowd. But the signal cuts through the noise and it pulls me now. I'm standing on tomorrow's edge. I jump anyway. No guarantees, but I'm on my way. If I fall, I rise. That's the game I play. Tomorrow's edge. I jump anyway. Late night glow from a silent screen. Heartbeat loud in the in-between. World asleep but my mind won't rest. Standing right on tomorrow's edge. Numbers fall and the candles shake. Every risk is a step I take. No applause and no safety net. Just a promise I have. I've been down with it loud. I've been lost in a digital crowd. But the signal cuts through the noise and it pulls me now. I'm standing on tomorrow's edge. I jump anyway. No guarantee, but I'm on my way. If I fall, I rise. That's the game I play. Tomorrow's edge. I jump anyway.
All right, legends. Hope you're all having a fantastic Wednesday. Let's analyze the price of Bitcoin here together. Price is pumping with increasing volume. Okay, price is smashing here to the upside with increasing volume. This morning in the community, I did attempt a short in this zone. I will explain why I attempted that short, but I got stopped out at break even. So when you're wrong and momentum starts to shift and volume starts to increase, okay, this is not a zone where I want to short at the moment. I had an attempt, got stopped out at break even, and then I told the legends, maybe we're going to form some 4-5s. And then I saw volume increasing. I was like, no, this structure looks like it's turning out to be a little bit more bullish. So not interested in shorts at the moment. Okay, because there was a couple of scenarios that could have played out, and now those scenarios got invalidated. But what's beautiful about this pump here at the moment, there's a couple of scenarios that now got invalidated. And the beauty about scenarios being invalidated is that it narrows it down to less scenarios. So now the trading opportunities here to the upside is becoming really, really interesting for me. Okay, I will keep the community up to date where I'll be looking for my next entry. Okay, why I'm entering, most importantly. Okay, let me put the music a little bit softer here in the background. Remember to smash up that like button on your way in if you haven't done so already. Okay, guys, you know, for me as a technical trader, when I see volume increasing and momentum starting to shift to the upside, this is not where, you know, I long or short at the moment. I want to see a slowdown. I want to see the bulls lose steam. Okay, and this is also not a place, definitely for me, where I jump into a long. Okay, that was a longing opportunity. That was a longing opportunity. Down here was longing opportunities, you know, and your 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 4 5. You know, this can really still rock and roll here to the upside. So I think what's important for me today is to show you which scenarios that we've been covering over the last 2 to 3 weeks have now been invalidated, and which scenarios are still left. Okay, so here on the 1 or 4 hour time frame, the first scenario I want to start with, because now this little pump here to the upside is becoming really, really interesting when I look at the 4 hour time frame. Okay, good morning. Let me say hi to the community quick, okay, before we dive in. Good morning, Trick 7175. Welcome to the live stream. Take profits, rejection coming. It's trying to get to 74, then big drop. Yes, that's also what I want to talk about. Okay, that's also what I want to talk about. Okay, because there is still a rejection zone above where price can form. Okay, basically a three-wave structure, and it falls down. That scenario, there's one scenario that has not been invalidated. Okay, where price even invalidates the 1 2 3 4, it invalidates the fourth wave, but it still falls to the downside. And you might be asking yourself, how can it still fall to the downside even if the fourth wave gets invalidated or carries lower probability? And I'm going to show you now. Okay, because in this scenario, okay, if I go here onto the 8 hour time frame, it has it has happened before. Okay, you have a channel. Let me show everyone here. You have a channel. Okay, I'm just going to do it very rough over here. Okay, what you most often want to see in an impulse is your 1 2 3 4 5. 4 should ideally not tap the top of the channel, which it did. But even when it broke out, look at what happened. It fell back down. And that is exactly what can happen here. You have your channel, okay, 4 breaks the channel, and you're like, okay, 1 2 3 4 5, 5 has been invalidated, 4 has been invalidated, now it's only up from here. There's still a chance to roll over and do exactly what happened over here. Okay, so that is the scenario that I quickly want to cover, just to show you guys, well, it has played out in the past, can definitely play out again. So let's go back here onto the 4 hour time frame. Remember to smash up that like button if you haven't done so already. While price is pumping here to the upside, I'm not interested in a short just as yet. Okay, not because on the smaller time frame, volume is starting to increase. Okay, I'm going to show you where I am going to get interested in a short. Not now. I did attempt a short, which I'll go through as well, at a little bit lower levels. I got stopped out at break even. I thought, okay, maybe there's a local 4-5 structure, nested 1-1-2 structure forming. And then I saw volume increasing. And that's why I always say, guys, based on how price action develops, I can very quickly switch from being bearish to bullish. So I'm not in a long trade at the moment. I'm not in a short trade at the moment. Now I have to wait for the next trading opportunity. That's what's important to me as a technical trader. Okay, so first scenario, let's look at this scenario. We have been discussing this scenario for very long, okay? Since, okay, we've been discussing this scenario. I think even before, okay? It's been more than a month that we've been looking at this scenario. And now you can see where price is going. It's going to the top of the channel. Okay. The hardcore invalidation for the scenario is if price taps the 0.618. Okay, but it's not great to see an impulse and your fourth wave tap the top of the channel, and it's almost there. So now that top of the channel over there presents an interesting shorting opportunity because it's also in alignment with that pivot high over there. You basically sweep the liquidity, you have the fake out, and you break to the downside. So definitely a zone that I will be paying attention to. Obviously, you still have the 50% and the Fibonacci levels to the upside. But I will zoom into the local structure here and just show everyone where I will become interested in shorts. Okay, or longs. Okay, it could also turn out to be longing opportunities that I'm going to be looking for. Right, legends, so it's not great in a 5-wave impulse. It's not great if price continues up here and taps the top of the channel. Okay, can you still get a move to the downside? Yes, and that brings me to the following scenario. Okay, so let's take this one out the way, and I had the scenario prepared for quite some time already, but I think now is the moment where I need to discuss it. Okay, just to show everyone, well, because this was the highest probable scenario, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, don't tap the top of the channel, and as long as price is not there, we still expect that 5th wave to the downside. But now price is getting very close to the soft invalidation for this scenario. So the other scenario I want to discuss here on the larger time frame is this one. And I have to zoom out a little bit for this one. Okay. Let me just switch the pen off and show everyone what am I looking at. Okay, you could still form this scenario. From a simplicity perspective, you have a trend. You connect the high, the all-time high, to this little pivot, and this is definitely something that could play out over here. We formed an A wave to the downside, you form a B wave, you reject again, and you fall down in a C. Okay, so you basically break that channel that I've just highlighted. You break the channel, it looks like, okay, exactly what happened here. You break the channel and you fall back down. You break the channel and you fall back down. Okay, and this C wave can unfortunately get a little bit more aggressive to the downside than just a little bit of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You expect price to find its feet and start correcting back to the upside. So this little bad boy can get a little bit more nasty to the downside. Usually your minimum FIB retracement for this B wave, okay, is when you take a FIB from X to the low and you drag it across. Ideally what you would like to see is for the B wave to at least get to the 0.382. It does not have to reject the trend. It can reject over here as well, because that is considered your minimum B wave target. Okay, so if price squeezes still here to the upside, that is definitely an area where I will be looking for a short, because I know that B can end here and we still take out the low at $60,000. Okay, yes, and now the conundrum is this little bad boy, this little B wave has many targets. Okay, it can go to the 50%, it can go to the 618, it can fake out the trend over here and then reject to the downside. Okay, but it gives me a plan, it gives me a trading plan. So based on how price reacts at this level, bearish CVD, maybe I have some other Fibonacci levels, or I can literally simply just treat the 0.382 as a swing failure. Price grabs the liquidity above, it starts trading below this level, that is a sign of weakness. That's where I can attempt a short position with good risk management. Okay, so as price is pumping here to the upside, I just wanted to show everyone there are still bearish case scenarios, especially here on the larger time frame. Okay, so now that you know about the scenario, keep it in mind in terms of what I'm going to show you more locally. Okay, so locally, what could now happen? Yeah, let's just keep it here for now. There's another scenario I wanted to show, but I think, you know, this is now the most relevant scenario because it looks like that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is going to get soft invalidated. Okay, but In both scenarios, legends, in both scenarios, whether, I know it looks a little bit messy, but please bear with me. If this is a W, X, Y, or this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't expect a capitulation to the downside. I do not expect a massive move like this to the downside. People that are, on social media calling for $20,000 Bitcoin, $9,000 Bitcoin, saying it's the end, okay, doom and gloom. Technically for me, and remember the disclaimer, guys, I'm just showing you how I approach the markets. So from a technical standpoint, okay, I don't expect a capitulation to the downside. So if price continues up and falls back to the downside, I do expect price to find its feet. If it's a WXY, yes, it can go a little bit further. It can go a little bit further than the fifth wave, but it's the zone where I will be very interested in longs. Okay. Now, that's the high time frame stuff. I guess what everyone is now interested in more aggressively is what is happening here more locally. So let's go on to the 1 hour time frame. Okay. And look at this structure. So there has now been a couple of scenarios that has been invalidated, which is great. So I don't have to consider those scenarios anymore. So it starts narrowing down what I need to look for those trading opportunities. Okay, let's see who else is here in the live stream. I cannot accept that 60K was the low for now. Yeah, it is very difficult to accept that this is the low and price is not going to claim it again. Based on most of the scenarios, okay, regardless of how high price goes, based on the price action that I see today, there is still a higher chance you're going to claim this low again. And whatever is happening to the upside is corrective and not impulsive. Because you have to remember in this scenario, let me just bring this one up back again. Okay. This is the most bullish short-term scenario for the moment. If I zoom in here on the larger time frame, you know what could happen here. Okay. Most bullish, in the midterm. B can do that. You form a flat. You basically form an A, B flat, and a C to the downside. So yes, it can still get very punchy. Okay, and I can just imagine how everyone is going to turn bullish when price breaks this trend. Okay, it continues to the upside. Maybe it even takes the high at $96,000, $95,000. But then it forms a B flat and it falls down and it takes the low again. And then you basically have, guess what? You have a ABC and a W, you have a WXY in an X, and you have an ABC flat. Y takes the low again. So in the medium term, this is the most bullish move that I see here to the upside. But what does not make sense is the local structure does not, for the moment, support this move to the upside. And that is why I say, guys, for now, I would rather say, let's stay humble on the ground. Like, this is literally where B can reject. Maybe it rejects at the trend. Maybe you have a little bit of a fake out. Maybe it doesn't even tap the trend. So I have to consider these scenarios because based on the local structure that is formed over here, okay, there's not a high probability for continuation here to the upside. But make no mistake, if the low probable scenario, which is, by the way, guys, it's this one. Okay, let me go back here onto the 1 hour time frame and show you locally what has to happen for B to move up aggressively. Okay, and it's basically this scenario. This one. This is the scenario that has to play out. In order to give B a higher chance to move higher, this is the scenario that you're looking at. And technically, it does not look great. So from a technical standpoint, I cannot give this scenario the highest probability. But make no mistake, if it does play out, I will be ready for it. Okay? especially from a shorting perspective, because yes, that could be an epic swing to the downside. So just to explain, the impulse I have highlighted in green. Okay, I've highlighted the impulse in green, and I've highlighted the correction in red. So from a technical perspective, it is rare to see such a large correction for a wave 2. It's not common. You're trading, you know, for me, you're basically trading against probabilities. You have a wave 2 that is very long compared to your impulse. So it's a low probable scenario. Can it play out? Yes, that's why I'm still talking about it. Okay, in the scenario, you have then formed another 1 and a 2, and now you want price to start accelerating to the upside to go and complete this third wave. And in this local structure, you have now built 1, 2, 1, 2, and you want to see continuation 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. So it basically needs to repeat this little structure. You want to see a triple top to complete wave 3. You want to see a 4 and you want to see another push. You want to see a rejection and you want to see another push, and you basically form those 3 tops to the upside, the bigger ones. Okay, and this scenario, unfortunately from a technical perspective, does not carry the highest probability. So I would rather want to talk and consider the scenarios that carries the highest probability at the moment. Okay, impossible, the spring part would be missing. Love from Italy. Welcome to the live stream. Yes, I'm reading the comments as I'm going through the technical analysis. 95% break even, amazing. You're going to make me FOMO in with this bullish move. Now, you know, guys, this is not a longing zone for me. Okay. Yes, can this scenario play out? Okay, can this scenario play out? Of course, it can play out. Technically, it has a low probability of playing out. And I am a probability trader at the moment. So what I want to discuss now is, well, which scenarios carries higher probabilities than this one? But I do want to highlight, guys, sometimes the low probable scenarios do play out. So let's give it a percentage. This scenario has a 25% chance of playing out, and it has a 75% chance of not playing out. So if you are entering a long year, expecting to take profits over year, you have a 25% chance of this trade playing out. Well, for me, okay, I can only tell you what I do. I cannot enter a long over year on a 25% probability. That's not how I trade. Can it play out? Well, I have a 25% chance of it playing out. Okay, so now let's talk about some of the scenarios. The ones that now looks interesting, and I will go through the ones that have been invalidated as well. But let's talk about the ones that looks more interesting than that bullish structure that I've just shown everyone. And remember to smash up that like button, guys. I will keep the community up to date. Even this morning when I took this short, okay, I will zoom into the smaller time frames and I will show everyone where I took a short. I got stopped out at break even. I did not lose cash. Okay, very important for me. I told everyone I'm managing my risk like a king, because there was a scenario for an A, B, C, and you take the low again, or a W, X, Y. Okay, I will go through those local scenarios. Not that it's relevant anymore, but I'll leave that towards the end of the stream. Okay, price is pumping, volume looks like it's starting to increase. So for me, okay, I just told everyone, okay, I got stopped out at break even, not interested in another short at the moment. If you are in a long, congratulations, but you should have longed from lower down. This is, for me at least, this is not, okay, where I enter a long. It's like trying to enter a short over here. No, it's like trying to enter a long over here. For me, okay, and guys, I'm saying this because you would not believe the messages that I get from people, and then they show me their positions, and then true as Bob, someone entered a long over here, price rejects, and then I get a message when people are over here saying, dear Walt, I entered over here, now I'm underwater. Do you think price still has a chance to continue up? And I'm just like, okay, this is why I'm harping on it. For me, this is not a longing zone. It is way more interesting after a pump to look for shorts, after a dump to look for longs, after a dump to look for longs, and I did enter a long over there. I closed my position by mistake over there, but I did take, it was a decent trade for me. Okay. Interesting short. That was also an interesting short for me. Okay, so for the experienced traders out there, I'm sorry that I'm hopping on this point, because you're most probably looking at me going, Devil, it's logical you don't enter a long over here. But I'm telling you now from personal messages that I get, for some people it's not logical. Okay, people FOMO, they just jink. Okay, and then they pray for the best and hope they don't get liquidated. Okay. And yeah, you might get lucky a couple of times like that, but it's not a sustainable way to trade. Right, guys, now, this scenario has been invalidated. Remember, we've been talking about this triangle, and I kept on moving. C was over here, then I moved C over here. I even made a short about it. Now we've broken out, and we're about to take this high. As long as price does not take this high, this triangle can still play out, but it's not looking great from a channeling perspective as per the higher time frames. So I would literally say, okay, I'm throwing the scenario in the bin, which is great, because now I can start eliminating scenarios. Okay, so let's take Mr. Triangle out the way over here. What else can play out? I want to talk about this one. This is a very interesting one for me at the moment. Okay, this was a scenario that was identified by a community member inside of Andy's live stream. So I can't take credit for this, but guys, you know, there's many scenarios, right? So in this scenario, it is still valid. So let's talk about the valid scenarios. Okay, you have formed a W, okay, an A in a three-wave structure, B, C, D, E in an X wave, and now you are going up for an A, a B, and a C. I know we have seen this movie before, and I know people are going to write comments now and to say that, yeah, well, but we've seen this movie before. Okay, sometimes maybe it just is what it is. So from a Fibonacci perspective, you take your trend-based Fib from the low to the high to X, and now you have your levels here to the upside where it can reject. First target 0.618. This is where the previous structure rejected at the 786. So guys, I will still pay attention to those levels, and if I get a reaction at those levels, I will take the trade. I'm not gonna not take the trade because this movie has played out before. Okay, maybe that is the way the market makers wants to confuse everyone, because they know not everyone is maybe not expecting the same structure. But this movie has played out before. This exact movie has played out before, where we got the rejection at the 786. Okay, back onto the 4 hour just to quickly explain it. This is the movie. That movie could now play out over here. In this movie, you also formed a W, a X, and a triangle, and price got rejected. Guess where? At the 786. W, X, A, B, C in a Y. You got rejected at the 0.786. Okay, so zooming back into this structure, this scenario has not been invalidated. You basically also have your three-wave structure in a W. You have your A, your B, your C, your D, your E in an X, and now you're forming your A, B, C here to the upside to complete Y. Now the question is, where is it going to reject? Minimum target for the Y is the 0.618. Where the other one got rejected, the previous movie got rejected at the 786. Okay, so very interesting, guys. Here on the 1 hour time frame, for now, okay, you can see that we are pumping with decreasing volume. So for now, based on this volume candle, volume is still decreasing. So we are seeing a pump to the upside with not increasing volume. So in that most bullish case scenario, if this is a 1 and this is a 2, and now price is starting to parabolically move here to the upside, you really want to see volume increasing. Volume needs to start increasing, and it's not increasing yet. So maybe it's still coming, but for now we have lower volume. Okay, if I delete all the scribble, you can see volume is still lower. So for me, technically, the bears are still in control, even with this local pump here to the upside. So it's still in my best interest to look for shorts. Okay, because I can tell you now, you know, maybe not you, okay, but there was a lot of people that said, damn, how did I miss that short? It looked like it was gonna, and then we fell here to the downside. Okay, because in this structure, I'm not sure if anyone here remembers, while I was doing live streams during this structure, I said, guys, it is impulse, it is corrective. I don't care how high price goes, it's corrective. The probabilities are higher, you're going to claim this low again. Because even the bullish scenarios inside of this structure carried low probability. Okay. Let's get back here onto this little structure. So in this structure, what would be interesting, let's dissect this a little bit because it's still valid. This structure is still valid, okay? So I want to go here on the 15-minute time frame and just see, well, where can this C wave end? So if this is A, and this is B, maybe this is A. Just want to see something here. B did not go deep enough. That's the problem here. Unless you have a WXY, WXABC. Okay, that actually makes more sense to me, guys. I will actually, I know because there's some experienced Elliott wave counters looking at me right now and going, no, devil, this ABC doesn't make sense. But the structure still makes sense. I can delete that and I can do the following. I can say, okay, that can be a W. This can be a X. And now you're forming your ABC, okay, in your Y. Basically what I mean is this becomes your A, your B, and your C here to the upside. Okay, so can you guys see why I'm interested in shorts? I now just have to be patient for price to get to my area of interest. Because I know that this Y has a target, and I also know that this ABC has a target. So now I can start looking for some confluences where shorts will be becoming very interesting to me. Okay, so first target is, let's measure the WXY. So from the low to the top to the low. Okay, just want to see, we got a reaction. Okay, so this is your most common zone for a WXY. Yeah, that's your most common zone for a rejection. It can go to the 1.618. Okay, it's just a rare, this is a more rare target, but it's not an invalidation. Okay, and this is now where things gets a little bit messy. So maybe what I can do is I can put a little red box here and say, guys, this is where I'm going to start getting interested in shorts. Okay, so I take this fib out the way. This is usually how I do technical analysis, and now I measure this structure. Okay, because I'm building Confluence. I want levels so that I can execute my swing failure patterns from. Okay, so now from this little pivot to the high, to the low. Okay, the first area that looks very interesting here to the upside is the 0.618. The 1.618. Because I know this is a C wave target. But what I also know is that the 2 extension also gets respected. So it's still the 2 extension and the 618 is in my zone where I will be looking for shorts. Okay, so what I will do is I will treat these levels as swing failure lines. But ideally what I want to see is I want price to pierce the level and reject. And I want it to grab the liquidity and show me weakness. So I will be a little bit more patient with these trades. Okay, it could form this and go up again and reject. I will be waiting for that level. So $73,000 to $72,000 for me is an interesting zone to look for shorts based on the pump now here to the upside. Okay, now I want to look at the 5-minute time frame and look at this local structure that is forming here to the upside. Okay, so for now I see the mess, and I'm just going to keep it simple, guys. I'm not going to go and draw it out perfectly from an Elliott wave perspective, but this can be a 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. This is maybe another 1, 2, because the most volume for now sits in this move. So you have your multi 1, 2s. Okay, maybe there was another 1, 2 over here, or maybe that was now your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inside of the third wave. But now I want price to continue to chop to the upside and repeat that. Because there is the most volume. So now I want to see those triple tops, double tops, because I want this mess to repeat over here. And by the way, guys, these are my most profitable structures to trade. Okay. What I will be looking at is if volume starts to increase again. So it takes out that high volume node. Then I know, okay, let's say it does that and volume starts to increase again, then it starts doing the triple tops a little bit further up. So I have to monitor the structure. For me, from a technical perspective, I have to monitor the structure to say that, well, okay, it's turning out to be even more bullish. Now I wait again, okay? Maybe I can play the little breakouts if I want to scalp. I can play these little breakouts, okay? Because it forms those little corrections. Can you see? It forms those little corrections and you can play the breakouts. So there's some scalping opportunities depending on how the structure unfolds. Okay, but first area of interest for me is the 1.618. Second area of interest is the 2 extension. Okay, so now I've gone from the larger time frames into the smaller time frames to try and work out my areas of confluence. Now I just want to reverse again and go back to the 8 hour and see, well, okay, if that is my area of interest, to look for a short in this zone. Okay, let's switch off the trend-based fib extensions just to clean up the chart. Now I'm going to take my fib. Just want to get this entire structure here. Okay, that is not too far from the 0.382. So unless we get those 4 5s to the upside, okay, it's not going to hit this level. But yeah, I mean, if price gets to this level, I will definitely be interested in shorts. $74,000, okay, because this price could still, you know, chop and create those triple tops. So I'm going to have to be patient here, guys. For me, I'm going to have to be patient here for the short. And if I do attempt to scalp those small little levels on the lower time frames that I've just seen you, make no mistake that I will get in there like a sniper, protect position, take profits. And if I get stopped out, I want to get stopped out at break even, hopefully even with a little bit of profit. Okay. But for me, it is still very interesting to look for shorts, even with this pump, because if you did not catch price from lower down, this is not an area where I long. Okay, you could literally swing this high as well. You could swing that high, which is also in alignment with that 1.618. Okay, let's go back here onto the 15-minute time frame. Let's go to the 30-minute. I just wanted to see that pivot. I just want to mark that pivot out. Where's my little horizontal? I want to mark it out with my magnet. Snap it on. There we go. Make it a little bit thinner. Okay. Now that we have that level, I just want to see where my Fibonacci levels are. Guys, I love my fib extension levels. Okay. So the first Y wave target, the 0.618, is slightly above the high. So how nice would it be for me to consider a short when price gets weakness? Either there, and that will be a double confirmation for me. So that will be my trading opportunity. If price dips below this zone, this line over here, that will be a double confirmation that you've basically swinged that high. You tap the Y wave target, the minimum target, and price starts to fall down. What is interesting about the 786, which is also a Y wave target, W, X, Y, it does align with the 0.382. Okay. Right, legends, I want to see if there's maybe another scenario that aligns here, but this is the one that looks the most interesting to me at the moment. Okay, you have formed your W, you have again a triangle in an X, and this now could be a WXY inside of your final Y wave to the upside. The only thing I don't like about the scenario, guys, but I mean, I can't be picky here, I have to trade what price is offering me, is that I've seen this movie before. So, okay, maybe the only difference in this movie is that it's going to reject either lower, because maybe there's too many people waiting for that level, okay, or it goes to the 1-to-1 extension. So I still have many, I can, you know, those are the key levels that I'm watching. The 0.618, the 786, and the 1-to-1 extension. Price is not there yet, okay? It would be nice to claim at least this little pivot over here. And by the way, guys, just as a little bit of education, is that the minimum requirement, okay, for Y, for this WXY, WXY, the minimum requirement for that Y is to take the high of W. It does not have to claim the 0.618. It would be nice if it does actually claim that level, because I know how to trade these levels. But I mean, I can also play an SFP from that high. Exactly what happened here. Do you guys remember that SFP? You grab the liquidity, you fall to the downside. Beautiful trade. That is something that could happen here. Grabs the liquidity and it falls to the downside. So the bears are not out of the picture just as yet. That's now the irony that I see over here. So I want to go through a couple of other scenarios. Let's just clean this up. I want to take this out the way. Remember to smash up that like button. I will go through some comments in a moment. Okay, unfortunately, the structure has a higher probability of still being corrective than impulsive. I hate to be the person that says that, but it's just technically what it is showing me, because yes, there is a chance, okay, in the most bullish case scenario, where did I have it? I had it here somewhere in my folders, but now I've made so many scribbles. Let me just take all of this out the way. I don't need this. Okay, so I can find my bearings here again. That is the local most bullish impulse in this scenario. Yes, guys, like I said during the beginning of the stream, the scenario could play out. Technically, it doesn't look great. Hasn't been invalidated, but it carries a 25% probability. And sometimes the 25 probabilities play out. So in the scenario, what I would like to see is for price to continue. It needs to continue. Okay, and at least tap this level over here. Where do I get that level from? If I take the fib from the low to the high of 1 to the low of 2, you can see it's at this 1.618. This number 3 is here at the 1.618, which is $75,200. So for confirmation that price can hit these levels, okay, you want price to continue and continue until it hits 75 at least, because that's usually a very common target for a third wave based on this impulse. Right. And now, because you have the 1-2, because you have these double 1-2s, what you want to see is a 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. So I want to see a repeat over there. But make no mistake that this also presents a very interesting shorting opportunity, because this could also be that W, X in the triangle, and now you have your Y to the upside that rejects, and then it falls to the downside. So I'm not going to bank on this just as yet, because this might not happen. That might not happen. because this could also be your WXY. No. And it falls down and it claims the low again. Okay. If the scenario obviously had to play out, okay, there's a shorting opportunity where you can make profits. There's a, you have your 3-wave, you have a longing opportunity. You have a 3-wave, you have another longing opportunity. So I can trade that range. But there, I'll also be very interested in shorts, because when you form a 5-wave move to the upside, okay, you at least expect a correction and then continuation back to the upside. So that presents another shorting opportunity, another longing opportunity. So it doesn't really matter for me which structure plays out, whether it's the low probable scenario, whether it's the high probable scenario. I know where to look for shorts and I know where to look for longs. If the scenario had to play out, then I'm going to be very interested in longing opportunities, because you're basically looking for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 correction, continuation. Okay, opened a short now, looks decent. Looks decent. Oh, we are getting a little bit of a rejection. Okay, we haven't claimed that pivot just as yet. I want to just see if I have discussed all the scenarios that I have left over here. That was my plan. Larger WXY I've gone through. Yeah, I was looking at this flat scenario here as well. Let's see if this one is still in play. This is also a very interesting one. Okay, let's go back here on the 15-minute time frame. I just want to see what I was doing over here. Oof, price got a rejection. Okay. That is basically your maximum flat target that it's rejecting here at the moment. This is a scenario that I spoke about this morning in the community as well, is to say, guys, you could still form a 3-wave structure here to the upside. You have a clear invalidation, okay, and there's a chance you can come and reject here again. Okay, you basically form an A, a 3-wave B, okay, A, B, C, and you reject and you claim the low again. So there's many scenarios and there's many levels that I can keep an eye on. In this scenario, the 1.618 is the invalidation. Okay, and we at the moment, price is getting a little bit of a reaction here at the maximum target for your B wave. When we hit the 0.9, you can see we also got a reaction. Okay. Now I want to go through a couple of local scenarios and just see which ones are still in play. Yeah, this was one it was a cheeky little scenario that obviously got invalidated. Okay, so 3-wave W, X, and you could form a Y and then continue up. Price broke out. Okay, and then I was still considering, well, what if this is an A, B, C? So I was looking for a long. There was a daily level there as well. Got invalidated. So the reason I took a short, the reason I took a short there and I got stopped out at break even with a little bit of profit, not a lot, but a little bit of profit, is because I was looking at this scenario. Okay. So basically you form your W, your X, and your A, B, C. I was looking for the B to reject. Okay, so you all know from this morning in the community, you all know why I took a short over there. So I was looking at this as, what if this is an A? Okay, you drag it across, you reverse it to the upside. Just want to make sure that this is the level. Okay, yes, that is the level. Okay, where we got the reaction. I think it was this one, guys. Okay, we got the reaction. I got in. Price fell down. I protected position. Okay, price came up, stopped me out. Okay, got stopped out with, well, basically I protected my position. So, but I got stopped out. So there was a reaction. I took the short, and well, now price is pumping here to the upside. Okay, and then once volume started to increase, because I was also looking at the structure here on the local time frame. Okay, before we had the massive pump, I was looking at this structure and I said, okay, guys, maybe this is your 1 2 1 2 1 2. You have 3 because that was our highest volume node at that point in time. That's why I always say, based on current price action, maybe that was your third wave, and what I was expecting is a 4 5 4 5 4 5. Okay, so I was looking for a short here at the 1.618, more or less. And then price started pumping and I saw a higher candle. And I was like, okay, no, that must be your 1 2s. You have the high move, you chop here to the upside, and then maybe you reject. Okay, so I have to change my tune based on how price action develops. So from a bearish case perspective, okay, price is now hitting the maximum target for a B wave. You can see where price is now getting the rejection. So if this is your wave A, you form a 3-wave B, there's your invalidation. You are getting a reaction at the 1.236, and you can expect price to come down in a 5-wave structure in a A, B, C. Okay, so these are just local stuff here at the moment. The bottom is in. Could very well be, guys. I mean, maybe that 25% probable scenario plays out. Okay, but price needs to still continue here to the upside. It needs to continue. It can't stop right now. For the bulls, in the most bullish case scenario, price should not stop. It should continue to the upside. Okay, I know, you know, when price starts pumping, everyone gets very bullish. No, I'm not saying you guys, most people. Price is pumping, it's green, everyone's happy. You know, we are pumping to the upside, and then price falls down and no one laughs anymore, no one's happy anymore, people got liquidated. It's not great. Okay, this scenario is the most bullish case scenario. Unfortunately, it carries the lowest probability from the scenarios that I've just shared. But make no mistake, if it had to play out, I will be looking for a short. Price needs to come to my area of interest. I want to see a repeat of this. Okay, you have a 1 2 3. I want to see a 4 without tapping the invalidation. Another leg. So you basically form that triple top. And once I see a triple top, I'm very interested in shorting, because I know that this can still squeeze out even higher, and then maybe it does this a little, it does that a little bit higher. But I'm interested in the triple top. So I don't care whether it has low probability. If the structure plays out like this, I know how to trade it. Let's go through some comments. Let me know, guys, do you think we're going to continue here to $84,000? Okay, nice, gold club. Doing all this before market open is fishy. All the lows have been outside of market hours. Yeah, let's go, dear old Mr. Andy here in the chat as well. Yeah, Andy, I'm discussing here with the guys that we do have an in, because, you know, when price pumps, everyone gets excited. And I'm just highlighting to everyone that, you know, this bullish case scenario, and I know, Andy, you've been talking about this as well, where you have a 1 and you have such a long 2, is just not great from a probability perspective. Okay, now you've formed your another 1 and your 2, and there's also a problem there. This 2 tapped a flat target, which is a rare target for a 2. And now you're forming your 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 4 5. So basically to wrap up this third wave. But now this, for me, is a very interesting shorting opportunity, because I know that there are bearish case scenarios that carry higher probability than this. So this becomes a very interesting shorting opportunity, because this can also be an A, a B, a C. And then your 1 2 3 4 5. So very interesting shorting zone over here for me, because the corrective structures carry higher probability. Yes, make no mistake, if this had to play out, well, we're going to know where to short, and okay, that presents a buying opportunity. I have not actually discussed that ABC scenario, so let me discuss this scenario. This is now the next scenario. You have a W, X, Y, and a B. And again, you're counting this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Most common target for your C wave is here at the 1-to-1 extension, 1.236. Yes, it can extend here to the 1.618, but the corrective structures, technically for me, and I feel like I'm repeating myself over here, guys, is that the corrective structures, unfortunately, carries the highest probability. So I am very interested in shorts in this zone. Now, especially that price is pumping for the moment with lower volume, I'm very interested in a short in this zone if this scenario had to play out. Almost forgot to show you guys this scenario. It's just a clean account as well. You have a, you have a B, and now you're wrapping up your C here to the upside. Okay, so I have my levels that I will be keeping an eye on. I have my levels. But again, this one too also doesn't look great. Okay, it really doesn't look great. It actually looks better as a, what else? Okay, you basically have, I think I've already shared the scenario. You have a W, you have a X. Let's say X ended over here. Okay, A, B, C. Okay, that's also an interesting scenario where basically, okay, let me just paint it out for everyone over here. You have an A, a B, and a C. That's wrapping up here to the upside, but you want it to extend a little bit because you have double 1-2s here at the bottom. So how I see this scenario unfolding is a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. I want to see a triple top. That could be the end of your Y, and guess what? Price takes out the low. And you basically have an A, B, C in a Y. Okay. So that is another scenario that could play out over here. Also that triangle that I've already shared with everyone. I think if I have to also use a Fibonacci just to measure out the levels. Okay, let's just swing it here to the upside. Yeah, I mean this C wave can extend here, and I mean these are all valid targets. Okay, the first target is the 786 above, exactly in confluence with that high. That's your 786. Okay, a little bit up, 1-to-1 extension. So, you know, I can keep an eye on these levels. These levels are very interesting. And guys, remember this one. Okay, remember this one. We've seen this level not so long ago. Andy, I think you also spoke about this level yesterday in your live stream, if I'm not mistaken, because we've seen this movie before. Okay, you can swing the highs over here. Okay, it pushes up and then it rejects. But then this doesn't make sense as a C wave. So you'll have to count this structure maybe as something else. Maybe this is an A. Yeah, I think I'll have to give that triangle a higher probability. So if I switch this off, you're looking at this, okay? So you have your W, you have your X in a triangle, and then this is forming your W, X, Y. You're basically over your A, B, C here to the upside. Okay, but you guys can see I am more interested still in the bearish case scenario because the bullish case scenario carries the lower probability. And it's not because I feel like it. I have to trust my technicals. I have to look at my invalidations. I have to trade my levels. Okay, and that is what's kept me profitable as a trader. Okay, I'm not going to look at this pump and be like, it's over for the bears. It's only up from here. I enter a massive position here with my stop below the low, thinking that we're going to go and claim the all-time high. I just can't trade like that. Okay. Right. It's super low volume. Yes, it is concerning that we still have, this is the 4-hour time frame. We still have 2 hours left for this candle to close. So volume could still increase. Remember that, guys. For the moment, we have decreasing volume. But this candle still has 2 hours. So while it's pumping here to the upside, it can start increasing. So we have to wait for this 4-hour candle to close. Excuse me. But I would say the easiest short is that one. Regardless of which scenario you are looking at, just from a structural perspective, okay? You punch out and you reject. Okay, do you guys remember what happened there? Andy was doing this on his live stream. You reject. Okay, so SFP from the high. It's definitely a level that I will be paying attention to. Also, if I just do a normal fib from the low to the high to the low, okay, you have your levels. If price punches through here and it does not reject, it's above my area of interest, I'm not interested in a short. No short. Then I look at my next level. And that is how, guys, it's rinse and repeat for me. I have levels, I watch the reaction, I enter, I protect, I take profits. Okay, that's just how I trade. I just have my trading. I have my trading plan here to the upside. I know exactly how to trade these levels. If it rejects here, great. If it doesn't, I have my next level. Okay, and then on the smaller time frames, I'll also have my levels here to the upside. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Okay, you can see that I'll make those trading decisions, but most importantly, I will keep the community up to date when I take those trading decisions. Okay, if you want to be part of the community, link is down in the description. DM me the word access on Telegram. Okay, and I'll send you instructions on how to join the community. That is where I share with people when I enter trades. Sometimes I'm a little bit late, like last night I actually entered a trade a little bit late. What I wanted to highlight to everyone over here is I just want to drag my Telegram across so that I can show everyone, just from an education perspective, okay, what I share inside of the community. By the way, guys, I got myself a new little background. Love my new background. Okay, so last night, yesterday, I took a short just based on a Fibonacci level. I made a nice amount of profits with this short at the 1.618. I posted, and I did say sorry to the guys. I posted this one. Sorry, legends, could not post this in time. But I mean, it was still relatively close, but it's not where I would typically enter a trade like this. Okay. Then I kept everyone up to date, gave them some more scenarios, explained the bullish case scenario, and where did I share that? Yeah, guys, I give a lot of updates during the day. I just want to see where I shared. Okay, yeah, it was a little bit further up. Here we go. Okay, I entered the short at that 1.618 that I highlighted. I said I almost, this was this morning. I told everyone almost got stopped out, but the level held. My position is protected. My stop loss is on top of my entry. I already took 50% profits. Okay, and then price moved up and stopped me out. What was important for me is that it was a profitable trade. It's not about being wrong or right. It's about, did you make money? It doesn't matter if you're wrong or right. Did you make money? I made money yesterday, and I made a little bit of money this morning, even attempting to short this massive uptrend. Okay, here on the 5-minute time frame, I attempted a short over here. And I got stopped out with a little bit of profit. Didn't make a lot of profit, but most importantly, I didn't lose cash. I didn't add to my position. Okay, that's the worst thing you can do. Right, so I guess this local structure is now very interesting. I know I'm stuffing around here on the lower time frames, but what is interesting about the lower time frame, if I just look at this structure, okay, this is now what's going to be interesting. Is this going to form a 3-wave structure and fall down? Or is it going to form a 4 and a 5? Oh, sorry guys, my mouse is stuck for some reason. Let me just try that again. I want to see if I have that local bullish. This is what I painted out this morning for the legends. Yeah, here we go. It's almost playing out to perfection. I said, guys, this is the bullish case scenario. Unfortunately, I could not give this scenario the highest probability because of how long the correction is. Okay, you have a 1 and you have a long 2. So let me paint it out for everyone quickly here. Okay, if I take a time fib from the low to the high, you can see that wave 2 is almost 7 times longer than the impulse. So technically, I have to actually, from a technical perspective, give a three-wave structure higher probability. Okay, because what you want to see for the bulls, you want to see a push up, okay, a rejection, and another push up. So you basically want to see that from a bullish perspective. From a bearish perspective, this is still a three-wave structure, and a three-wave structure can reject and take the low again. So the bulls needs to see this more locally, and more locally, based on this, it carries lower probability. Sometimes it is what it is. Okay, because time, unfortunately, is never an invalidation, but it does impact probabilities. So in yesterday's live stream, I think we also discussed this to say that, you know, you have a 1, 2, 1, 2, and I said as long as price can make a higher low and not claim these lows, we could move up, which we did. Okay, but you also have an incredibly long 2 compared to the impulse. So multi 1-2s is technically it's not looking great, but it can still play out. So I'm very, you know, when I do Elliott wave theory, I'm always very interested to see how the structure unfolds at the end of it, so that I can see if the probabilities still make sense or if I need to change probabilities. For example, if I keep on seeing that we are forming 1-2s, 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 even when the corrections are 8 times longer than the impulses, but the structure keeps on playing out, I will very quickly change probabilities and change my rules to say that I don't care how long the correction is. Because on Bitcoin, it doesn't matter how long the corrections are compared to the impulses, they keep on playing out. So from a rule perspective, I'm very curious to see how this structure plays out so that I can see if my probabilities needs to be updated. And that is what I like to do as a technical trader, is to say that, well, when I tell people, or myself rather, that based on probabilities, this has a low probability, I don't want to just loosely use that term and then people are like, but Dewald, every time the low probable scenarios play out. I'd rather just change the rule and say, well, guys, okay, low probability scenario seems to be now the highest probability scenarios here on Bitcoin. Okay, so again, you sit with a little bit of a problem over here. Based on probabilities, for now, you sit with a little bit of a problem. You have a very short impulse and you have a very long correction. So it doesn't invalidate it. So I'm curious to see how this structure is going to play out. And if price rejects and takes out the low, well, then I will keep with my probabilities. Then I will keep on saying, guys, this doesn't look good as an impulse. You have a longer correction compared to the impulse, because last time it happened, and the previous time, and the previous time before that, when I saw this, okay, price formed a 3-wave structure and fell down. So I think what would be interesting in this scenario is that, okay, you have these nested 1-2s here at the bottom. For me, you have these nested 1-2s. You have an increased amount of volume in this move. Okay, so this can now repeat. It can 4-5, 4-5. It can do that. You get the choppiness and you reject at this zone. So that is definitely an area that I will be paying attention to for a short, which is that pivot. Because this can turn into a 3-wave structure. This is now the danger. It turns into a 3-wave structure here to the upside. Okay, and it falls down. It rejects in this zone. But even from a 4th wave perspective, okay, even if it makes a 5-wave structure, I can still trade it and make money. So even if the 3rd wave rejects here, it falls. Oh, it's happening. We're getting the rejection. Okay, I can make money with that move. I just, you know, I know how to manage my risk. If I get stopped out, well, make no mistake, I'm still interested in a short, because after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you still expect a correction before you get continuation, and I want to take advantage of that move. So I will keep the community up to date with how I trade and, you know, just sharing what I do personally on my trading account. Okay. If you want to join, DM me the word access and I will give you the instructions on how to join the community. Right, I just want to run through everything here quick and just see if I haven't missed anything. Okay. Yeah, very interesting to see if that 5-wave structure is going to play out. So I want to go back here onto the 1 hour. Just want to see if there isn't a scenario that I am missing here at the moment. Okay, so we have gone through the ABC. So just in summary, guys, in this scenario, let me just take that out the way, drag this across a little bit so you guys can see the levels properly. Okay. In the scenario, remember it's also a corrective structure. It's an A, B, C. After a 3-wave structure, you expect price to take the low again. Okay. In the scenario, what I will be paying attention to is that you have a 1, 2, multi 1, 2s. You want to see continuation to the upside, and I want to see at least a triple top. Once I see the third top, and what I also want to see once these triple tops form, I want to see hidden bearish divergence. Once I start seeing bearish divergence and I see a triple top, I will get very interested in a short. Okay, and that's how I plan to trade the scenario, because this scenario still in an ABC, you expect to take out the low once again. Okay, because it means that your movement up is corrective, but your momentum is still to the downside. Okay, remember how the market moves, guys, just from an education perspective. Okay, you have a 5-wave move to the upside and you have a 3-wave move down, so you get continuation. Okay, does the same thing. When you have 5 waves to the downside, you have a 3-wave correction, continuation, 3-wave correction, continuation. Okay, and this is what we've now been seeing at the moment. So I'm looking at a 3-wave move up, because we already got that one. If I go here onto the 12-hour time frame, this is what this is what I mean, okay? To show everyone, yeah. This is what could still play out. You have momentum to the downside and you have a 3-wave move up. You have momentum to the downside, and guess what? This can form a 3-wave structure and continue. So you're forming corrections to the upside, which means that the bears are still in control. The only time you can start considering that the bulls are reversing the price action, okay, and this is where, you know, Elliott wave theory becomes very interesting. If this does this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if you see a 5-wave move up, then there's a chance that the bulls are reversing the price action. And then the 3-wave down, now you can see, now you're starting to create 3 waves down, becomes an interesting longing opportunity. So you're not, for me, I'm not missing anything. If I didn't catch the low and I miss this entire move, this is a higher confirmation trade to join the momentum back to the upside. But at the moment, okay, you have momentum to the downside and 3 waves up. Even here, you have momentum to the downside and a 3-wave up. You have momentum, 3-wave up. You have momentum, 3-wave at the moment. It's still a 3-wave structure. There's no 5-wave structure at the moment. So I cannot give the bulls the benefit of the doubt. So regardless of how high this goes, it still presents a shorting opportunity for me, because as long as this remains a 3-wave structures, the probabilities are always higher. You're going to claim the low. Claim the low. That is how I approach the market from a structural perspective. Okay, I hope I've nailed it now, just to show everyone how the market moves. So for the bears to start taking control, they have to do that. That is the most important leg that the bulls needs to make, that. And I don't care if I miss the long, because once I see 5 waves up, then I know, okay, it looks like this could be the low. Damn, son, because I see that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see a 5-wave move to the upside. It is then where I get very interesting. You see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, maybe it punches a little bit higher, but a 5-wave move always presents an opportunity for a 3-wave corrective structure, and then that is where I join to play that. because you get a 1, 2, and you are in the best wave, the third wave, which is the best wave to trade. The third waves are the best waves to trade. There's no third wave here at the moment. I would miss out this entire move so that I can get in here with confirmation. Okay, but I cannot long here thinking that, ah man, this is going to form a 5-wave structure. Okay, because I can get in exactly where you got in with confirmation. I just have to be patient, but now I have confirmation. Okay, so you know it's better to trade with confirmation because the probabilities are still higher that this forms a 3-wave structure and takes out the low. 3-wave structure, you take out the low. Okay, guys, there's many examples. 3-wave structure, you take out the low. 3-wave structure, you take out the low. So if the momentum to the upside is a 3-wave structure, you always have a higher chance to take out the low every single time. And for the moment, this is a 3-wave structure. So I can't get, I just can't get bullish right now. Okay, I'm looking for shorts. Okay, I'm looking for a swing short to the downside. Because remember guys, you know, even in a 5-wave structure, let's say this plays out 1, 2, 3, okay, Deerwold is shorting. Let's say I short over there and it does this 4, 5. My style of trading is I will take profits with that move down. I will leave a position open for obviously lower levels to claim the low. But if I get stopped out, I'm happy to get stopped out of this short with profits because the community now knows how I trade. And when I catch a long or a short, I always cover my fees and I take a little bit of profits, especially when you start hitting support and resistance, depending on whether I'm longing or shorting. So make no mistake that I will make profits even if it makes a 5-wave structure. But then after I see the 5-wave structure and I short it here, okay, I know that there's a higher chance that this could bounce back up. But I need the confirmation. So you know, for me, I have to trade what the market offers me. And you know guys, unfortunately here on the lower time frames, okay, it still doesn't look great for the bulls. Okay, yes, we can still pump here to the upside, take out the high, go to higher levels. Maybe you have your A, B, C. Okay, this is your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You only reject at higher levels. Maybe you claim all of the liquidity here, but as long as it's a 3-wave structure, okay, I know I'm sounding like a broken record over here. And this is why Elliott wave theory was so important to me. It's not necessarily the counts, the WXYs, the ABCs. It was the structure unveiling that became so important to me. 3-wave structure up, higher chance to take the low. 3-wave structure down, higher chance to take the high. Okay, so now let's go through some more comments. Deerwold Mark Dutch in the house. Welcome, Mr. Mark Dutch. Mark Dutch is an absolute insane moderator. I know Mark Dutch also moderates other channels as well, so great that you popped in here. Okay, can't wait for the move down. Yes, I also can't wait for the move down. Okay, and the first, guys, like I said, for those of you that maybe joined a little bit late over here, the first interesting area for me is this high to look for a short. So maybe, and it's great that price is starting to slow down. So as you know, when price starts slowing down, it pulls back. Okay, it goes up again, it pulls back, it goes up again. So you know that the bulls are losing steam. That's usually a great sign, and also very interesting to pay attention to the levels that you have, that you're keeping an eye on shorts. As long as price does this, it just continues, I'm not interested. Not interested in a short. I need price to do, it needs to slow down. It needs to start consolidating. It needs to do that. That is where I get interested in a short. So here on the 15-minute time frame, price is, for now, it looks like it's starting to slow down. So what could happen here is you have your 1-2s, you have your high volume, okay, and it starts doing this. Very interested in shorts. Okay, and I'm not saying, guys, that this is going to be a short that goes down to $60,000. I'm just saying I'm interested in a short. I took this short yesterday. Okay, I made nice money with that little move. Got stopped out at, I took 50% profits because there was a scenario that pointed out that this is your impulse. This is an ABC correction and you fall down. Okay, that is why that was such an interesting short for me, because you can see you have 5 waves to the downside, 3 waves up. It's an interesting short. I take profits, got stopped out with 50% profits. Okay, so I left 50% open to go to lower levels. I will do the same thing over here. Okay. Right, guys. I mean, in hindsight, you know, if I go back here onto the 1 hour time frame, this harmonic has actually played out to perfection, and you are about to approach the final TP area. Okay. I just wanted to point out this harmonic that we have been speaking about for a couple of weeks now. That's actually played, you know, and the reason I'm highlighting this harmonic is to show you that harmonics play out, and they are also considered reversal patterns. Okay, so this godly harmonic, beautiful, guys. You have your A, B, C, D. In your harmonic, you basically, it looks like a butterfly. That's what's also referred to as a harmonic. You bounced at the 786, which is a godly pattern. Okay, and then first TP area is the 618 from C to D. Okay, that is also why I took this long. I took this long and I rode this whole move here up and I closed my position there. By mistake. I wanted to leave some open for C point and I wanted to leave some open for A point, because this is TP1. Okay, your 0.618 from C to D, that is TP1, TP2, TP3. So now in hindsight, you guys can see that harmonic patterns, well, they do play out. Okay, and this was a beautiful harmonic that was identified by this is why I love the community. Often the community shows me something that I missed. Okay, Mr. Osren identified this little harmonic. So this is not Elliott wave theory, guys. Harmonic patterns. If you don't know, here's your harmonic patterns. Okay, yeah. Here's your harmonic patterns. Okay, you get crabs, you get butterflies, you get godlies. The ones that I like to trade the most is the bat and the godly. Those are my 2 favorite harmonics to trade because I see them often in Bitcoin, even on the smaller time frames. Right. Love the real chart talk. Keep doing what you're doing. Thanks, Mr. Jake from Reddit. Appreciate it. You are, hey, Mr. Osren. Here's the guy, the legend himself, guys. Here is the legend himself. He is the person that said, because I know Mr. Osren also did my trading course, and I teach this inside of my trading course, harmonic patterns. Okay, and Mr. Osren said, Devald, you know, this is where the student becomes the master. Devald, this looks like a harmonic is forming over here. Okay, we have the lower high, 786. Okay, and that was a very, very interesting longing opportunity for me as well. And I'm sure, Mr. Osren, you most probably took this trade as well. Okay, hopefully you didn't close your position, because I closed my position over there by mistake. I meant to take profits. It was late in the night. I made a mistake. It happens, guys. Okay, we're all human. But I mean, it was still a nice, profitable trade, this for me here to the upside. Okay. So there we go. Best course ever. Yes, guys, I still need to, Mr. Osren, I know I need to include more modules. Okay, it's just, I'm so busy and the editing is such a pain in the butt to do. But also what I plan to do is I'm going to record a couple of more modules, and I'm going to do it live with the community, you know, my Telegram community. If you want to be part of that community, link is down in the description. DM me the word access to my Telegram and I will send you the instructions. I also want to do a live trading session where I basically just show everyone how I trade. Okay, it's not signal script, guys. I will show you how I trade. What you want to do with that information is completely up to you. Okay, and then also what I want to do is I want to record another module for my trading course live with the community, because I find I just want to test it out. My hypothesis is that when I'm talking to someone, I go into education mode. When I talk to myself, you know, I end up re-recording and re-recording and re-recording. Okay, so I'm just going to test that out. Giveaway. Yes, I will do the giveaway, guys. I'm going to do the giveaway. I want to give 3 people something. I want to give 3 people something. I would prefer BTC not to pump when I'm not on school right now. It is slowing down, Mr. Pete. Petem, okay, 69.25. I think it looks, for now, it looks like price is slowing down. I think what I don't like at the moment, what I don't like here is this. Volume is slowing down, guys. You have more volume in this move than in this pump here to the upside. Here on the 1 hour time frame. Okay, so there's a high chance for a rejection soon. Okay, did we hit a level here to the upside? Just want to see if this is a AB. Let's do a couple of fib pools over here. Okay, let's measure this 1, 2. Okay, nothing's been hit yet. Okay, let's sometimes I just do a couple of fib pools without explaining it from an Elliott wave perspective. Okay, ooh, now there we got one. There we hit the 786. And basically what I'm looking at here is a W, a X, and an ABC. You just hit the 7. Okay, so very interesting to pay attention to the levels where you can get in with such great risk management. You take profits. If you're wrong, you get stopped out with profits. Okay, and then you look at the next area, and then you look at the next area. So that's definitely a nice little reaction here at the 786. A really nice reaction. Hey Devold, where can I see what you cover in your courses? I could not see. Guys, what I will do is I will actually deleted that link by mistake from my YouTube description. So what I will do after this live stream, if you are interested to see what my course looks like, I have the modules plotted out, what I've got in there currently at the moment. I will post a link inside of the description after the live stream. I'll go and update it and I will just put their course. Okay, and you can go and check it out if you want to see what the course looks like. Okay, so guys, I've unfortunately run out of time. This has been a very fun session with everyone here. Okay, remember to smash up that like button, subscribe if you enjoy the education, okay, and what I do here on the channel. Andy will be going live a little bit later. Have yourselves an amazing trading day. I will keep the community up to date if I do spot anything and if I do enter a trade. But I mean, I've now missed this one because I'm busy here with a live stream. I can tell you guys now that this is a short that I would have attempted if I was not in the live stream, because I don't like to trade when I'm busy with something else. Have yourselves an amazing day. Until the next one, cheers for now.